Action. Welcome to What's the Vibe podcast this week.
Yes, we are vibing.
We are vibing. Thank you. Listen, I'm not going to wait around to mention this thing. For just the listeners, we have new toys. We have a brand new mic. We have this cool director. What is this called?
I don't know. What
I wanted one.
Clapperboard.
Clapperboard.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was called, but I wanted one. And Dawn, family friend of the podcast, sent us both this and this. And this!
Look at this good vibes sign.
Yeah.
This sign is the vibe. It is our color, matches our color scheme. It matches the vibe that we're going for. Well, we should have turned on our little peace sign up there.
You know what it made me think of, though, on the way in, when I was thinking about what's the vibe? I was like, you know what the vibe is? Birthdays.
Birthdays.
Because it's almost June. By the time this airs, it'll be June.
Yes, it will. No, it won't.
It won't?
No, this is going to air on Monday.
That's fine. That just gives you more time to prepare because both Katie and I have a birthday in June.
Yeah.
And we have an Amazon wish list, and these came off of it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you can count on us to load that puppy up.
We can think of some more stuff we want.
Yes.
Pretty soon you won't even be able to see us, hopefully. It's just all of our toys.
All kinds of stuff on the table, little smiley faces, peace signs everywhere. Just good vibes.
Good vibes.
So before we get into the vibes for the day,
okay.
I have one update that I want to share. Last week, we talked about Taylor Swift.
Mm-hmm.
I fangirled for way too long. My portion went way over.
There's no time limits. This is our podcast.
Thank you. Because I feel like today's is going to go a little long too.
Okay, I'm here for it.
So weird, Amie, on Wednesday night, I think. I've had my days all mixed up this week. Taylor Swift announced that she was going to release a special edition of her latest album, Midnights. And on there were going to be 2 songs with different versions. And one of them is Karma.
Okay.
Featuring Ice Spice.
Weird.
Isn't that so weird? Is she doing damage control for her boyfriend? Or did it just happen? It was released today at midnight.
Last night. Or no, today. Like you just said. Thank you for listening.
It was released approximately 13 hours ago.
Have you listened to it?
I did.
Did you like it?
It was good.
That is interesting, though.
Isn't that weird? I've been dying to tell you that because of but I was trying to hold it in for the podcast.
I want somebody to ask this question other than us. We can't ask all the hard questions.
It's weird, too, because I'm on Swift Talk. Everything I scroll on TikTok, every other video is about Taylor Swift, whether it's the concert or just things about her. Mm-hmm. And people are talking about this song and nobody's talking about the odd or the coincidence that he was just talking bad about her.
Maybe we put a little snippet on What's the Vibe TikTok.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, what's going on?
Maybe duet
What's
of those
her boyfriend's
videos.
name? I forget.
Maddie Healy.
Roasting Ice Spice.
And Taylor Swift is out there with the best image ever. And she's like, come on, Ice Spice. Be on my song called Karma.
So many questions.
Okay. That was my only update that I have.
Oh, man. Well, I have no update.
Update.
I'm now living in the 1940s with no internet, social media.
I know. I do get really sad when I try to send you a Snapchat or TikTok and I just know you're never going to see it.
And I'm so busy at work, I don't have time to get on the internet. Man.
So I guess, let me just ask you this. What's the vibe?
What's the vibe? You know what's always the vibe? Amazing Amies.
Okay, you're not wrong.
Always the vibe. So the vibe is that. The vibe is also interesting and strong women.
Ooh, okay.
The vibe is broken engagements.
Okay.
The vibe is not stalkers.
It's not the vibe.
Stalking is not the vibe.
Okay.
I'm going to list for you right now 10 signs that if you think you might be being stalked.
Or the stalker.
Or, yeah, if you're like, I do that.
You might want to.
You're a stalker.
Okay.
Call the hotline. And I just list my phone number.
Yes. Okay.
Stalking, that you're being stalked, number one. You see someone lurking around your workplace or neighborhood. Some of these are pretty obvious signs, but
okay.
Stalking sign number two, someone's always watching you.
I hope people are always watching us out there on What's the Vibe.
I haven't had a stalker in a while. Stalking sign number three, repeated phone calls. I think we are being stalked.
Yeah, I would agree.
Stalking number four, you're given inappropriate gifts.
Okay.
Number five, rescuing you. So I have seen many articles about, oh, I had a flat tire and he just happened to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did that flat tire just happen to show up?
Right.
Yeah.
He's always in the right place at the right time. That's suspicious.
That is suspicious. Stalking sign number six, manipulating you into interacting. So let's say this is an ex-husband situation and always wanting to talk about the kids or or when he has them, something's always wrong, just manipulating you into that interaction.
Yeah, you have to respond if it's about your kids.
Oh. Number seven, using the internet to follow you.
Okay.
Creating fake profiles, Yeah. You think you got me blocked? No, you don't. No, you don't. Number seven. No, I already said number seven. Number eight, they isolate you from loved ones.
Yeah.
Stalking number nine. Sign number nine is acting violently or threatening to you. And number 10 is too much unwanted contact. So I'm going to tell you about an amazing young woman that was stalked and kind of just the story around her. But I forgot my laptop again today in case anybody's wondering.
I thought that's how you were going to open up What's the Vibe? Cell phone.
What's the vibe? iPhones.
Little font that I'm going to have to read.
These eyes are 27 years old.
These eyes are 18.
But I'm going to get it done. So I told you the vibe was amazing, Amie. So this is about an Amie. She spells her name A-M-I-E.
Oh, so she's not as amazing of an Amie as you are.
I think she's probably better. She's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Amie Harwick was her name.
Okay.
Amie Nicole Harwick was born May 20th, 1981. What year were you born?
1996.
96. So. But still young. That's still young.
That is young.
In Sellersville, Pennsylvania. And Amie was raised in Lansdale, Pennsylvania, and graduated from North Penn High School, class of 1999. So I graduated in 92, so it just seems like a baby to me.
Right. Shortly
after she graduated from high school, she moved to Los Angeles, and that was in 2001. That doesn't even plugged in. I just wanted to be cool. Hello, Christine.
Just start pulling everything closer to her.
I feel a little exposed without my laptop.
You can sit with mine in front of you if you'd like.
I'm fine. So she moved to LA to continue her education, and she was going to, let me tell you what she was studying. She was studying at the California Polytechnic State University. She received her Master's of Arts in Clinical Psychology from Pepperdine University, and her doctorate of Human Sexuality from the Institute of Advanced Study of Human Sexuality.
Okay.
So just a little bit more background about Amie. She was actually adopted.
Okay.
She had spent some time in foster care. I mean, she was really close to her family. That we know people that are adopted. It's a family.
Right. Yeah.
But I just share that because the foster care system, I mean, I have my best friend grew up in the foster care system, and it's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same. and as being with a family that loves and nurtures you, which she did end up getting.
Yes.
But when she moved to LA to pursue all these, because she's really smart, obviously, all these degrees, to do that, she worked as a Playboy. She worked at the Playboy mansion.
Wow. Okay.
And she was a dance performer. It's a dance performer, so maybe exotic dancer.
Use your imagination.
But wait till you see a picture of this girl. Let me just show you real quick.
Oh, wow.
Gorgeous.
She is very pretty.
So beautiful. And I saw some little pictures of her, which maybe you can find one of these. As part of her dance routine, she would eat fire.
Okay.
It looked like she had 2 marshmallows on a stick on fire going into her mouth. I'd pay to see it. Especially her. Cool. She's so beautiful. So this is, I'm just going to kind of, spoiler alert, Amie doesn't make it. Okay.
Oh.
So, but I just want to read you a little excerpt from her obituary. Thank you. Words left me. As part of her obituary, it lists her credentials that I just told you about. But it says, enough about credentials. Amie loved music, especially heavy metal, Tori Amos, Depeche Mode, and Christina Perri. She was as comfortable in a mosh pit as she was dancing with her mom on stage with the Beach Boys. Amie was a model for Stop Staring Clothing and Coffin Case. She authored a book, created podcasts, and wrote magazine articles. She was also a personal trainer and released an exercise video. She loved horror movies, collecting taxidermy and many objects in formaldehyde jars.
What? This woman, she was a woman of all trades. I mean,
I know. Amie was quirky and fun. I think that describes another Amie.
I would agree.
The camera loved her. She was becoming a photographer herself. Amie loved her family. Her favorite visit every year was the annual CBD, which stood for Cookie Baking Day.
Aww.
When she could see all her cousins, aunt, parents, brother, nieces, and nephews. Of course, the visit always included cheesesteaks, pork roll, and Lebanon bologna.
What?
That was in her. Is it Lebanon or Lebanon when you're in this?
Oh, I thought you said lemon something.
No, like, Lebanon. I'm going to stick with it. I already said it.
Go for it.
So I just thought it was so neat that they described her many different facets.
I mean, what person works at the Playboy mansion is what you said, or works for Playboy?
Yeah, some aspect of Playboy.
But also enjoys heavy metal, exotic dancing. Did you say that? And keeps things in formaldehyde jars. Like,
yeah.
Whoa, so many different.
There's also, I don't have it in here, but I also read that she bought her own coffin. Like she went to pick out her own coffin. She was just into kind of dark and quirky stuff.
Quirky things. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. So Amie was living in LA area in 2010 when she meets a guy.
Okay.
His name was Gareth Pursehouse. And she met him when she was working as a go-go dancer.
Okay.
And they kind of hit it off. And he was absolutely crazy about her. And she was about him in the beginning. But when she introduced Gareth to her friends, they just hated him immediately.
Really?
Yeah. One of them even compared him to Ted Bundy.
Oh.
And the reason for it was they said he would mirror everybody. Like he was just so fake. Okay. Like if you said, I love crunchy tacos from Taco Bell. Suddenly he loved crunchy tacos from Taco Bell. Like he was they just did not like him. So they were together for a while, but by the early to mid, I'm not really sure exactly when, of 2012, Amie was 31 and this relationship was over with. It was so toxic. Let me just read you a couple of the reports from the restraining orders she had to file against this man. Gareth Purse House. That's such a weird last name. I can hardly
Gareth
say.
is kind of an odd name.
They're both weird.
I'm sorry if you're a Gareth out there that's a fan of What's the Vibe.
Comment below. Set us straight on what a great name that is.
Convince us otherwise.
Yeah, we'll have you on.
Oh, this just keeps escalating. I don't know what the vibe will be.
But I don't trust any Gareth, so we're going to meet you at a public location.
Yes.
Gareth Purse House. This is from Amy's writing, okay? Forced me to the ground, covered my mouth to prevent me from yelling. He kicked me. In mid-May, there were multiple arguments in which Gareth Purse House choked me, suffocated me, pushed me against walls, kicked me, dropped me to the ground with force, restrained me, slammed my head to the ground, and punched me with a closed fist.
Man.
There were 2 restraining orders, as I mentioned. The first one was dropped for it said something about unprosecutable or something. That might not be a word, but they just couldn't have enough evidence or something.
Yeah.
But the second one went through. And it seemed like things were finally settling down, like he was leaving her alone.
Okay.
She wasn't seeing him around every corner. He wasn't calling her. He wasn't showing up where she worked. It just was kind of calming down. But weird things would happen. Like she got a job. This is just one of many, many instances. But she's a therapist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she got at least a part-time job working with minors.
Okay.
In a therapeutic setting. Her boss got an anonymous email with nudes of her.
Of her? Oh.
So she lost that job. And they could have been, remember, Gareth was a photographer. So he probably had taken many, many pictures of her.
Sure.
It was him.
Right.
It was
well,
obvious.
who else could it be? Why?
Right, exactly. So in 2017, Amie met Drew Carey.
Of The Price is Right?
Yes. I was waiting to see if you knew who that was.
Yes, I know who Drew Carey is.
They met at a party, and she was working as a bartender there, and they hit it off. Katie, they fell in love. Drew Carey and
what?
Yes. Now I'm going to lose my place. And Amie Harwick hit it off, and they actually became engaged.
Really?
And he announced it on a Valentine's episode on The Price is Right.
Are you kidding?
No, you'll find a clip.
Okay, yes, I absolutely will.
Yeah.
And now, here's your host, Drew Carey.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody! Special Valentine's edition of The Price is Right. We have an audience full of newlywed couples. How you doing? Congratulations. It's a very special time for the show, too, because everyone in the cast is either married or engaged. So that's pretty exciting. And I'd like to introduce you to my brand new lovely fiance, Amie. How you doing, Amie? That's right. It's all mine. George, you got engaged, too, recently, right?
She just looked so good, and they were really, really happy.
Aww.
And there's a 48 hours on this exact thing that I'm telling you about on Amie. And Drew is half of the episode.
Really?
And just talking about their relationship and how much they really cared about each other. But sadly, the pressures of Hollywood and the many dynamics of a relationship, he doesn't really go into the why, but they did break off their engagement.
Oh, okay.
And they went their separate ways. Okay, so after the breakup, Amie's still living her best life. Let me just tell you what else she is. She was a strong, strong advocate and ally for marginalized people, sex workers, especially.
Yeah.
There's YouTube videos of her because I mentioned she had a YouTube channel and podcast and all this stuff. And she would constantly say, do not be ashamed.
Aww.
Do not be ashamed. If you need help, reach out. She was just a great, great gal.
What?
So she's living her best life, and she has this beautiful 3rd floor apartment right in, the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why she had this roommate, he was a male, was for safety, because she was still kind of always looking over her shoulders. And anytime just anything bad would happen to her, for example, when her and Drew Carey were dating, there'd just be these random, Instagram accounts that would show up to talk about what a terrible hoe she was. And
Oh, jeez.
yeah, he would make many, many, many accounts just to talk shit about her on her.
At that point, why do you even want to be involved with a person that wants to be that distant from you and have no interest in you?
After 10 years, sir, move on. And people that knew Gareth, many of them said that he wasn't hideous. He was handsome. He was in Hollywood. He was taking pictures of the rich and famous, and women were attracted to him.
Right.
It wasn't like he was a troll that was all he was ever going to get. Like, just move on, sir.
That's almost more scary because he has more power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Than if he was just somebody living in his mom's basement.
But she was a well-known therapist, and like I said, on many different things. In mid-January of 2020, so right before the pandemic hits, she gets a last-minute invitation to an award show to be on the panel as an expert for the adult film industry.
Okay.
And so she just accepts. Like, the original therapist had dropped out. She didn't have much time, but she's like, yeah, I'll do it. It was a great opportunity to be exposed.
Sure.
Take some cool pictures. They were having a red carpet. It was a whole event. So she gets to this event, and oh man, what are the odds? This feels like something that would happen to me. She's ecstatic. She looks gorgeous. Maybe that part wouldn't happen to me. So she gets there. She looks gorgeous. Who does she see taking pictures? Gareth. She immediately is like, oh, this is bad. But she's stuck. You're in a procession line.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm speaking from
once
experience.
I'm on the red carpet, there's no going back.
Yeah, you just gotta go. I mean, we did walk on the red carpet last December, so we just had to. I mean, you have to just go.
You go, yeah. Once they call your name, you got to pose, and we know how it is.
It's the fame.
It hurts sometimes, but anyway, and then he sees her. What do you think he does? You think he just keeps it low key?
No way! This man is anything but low key. He literally got her fired from her job.
Katie, there are hundreds of people at this event. He immediately approaches her and starts screaming in her face text messages that she sent him in 2012.
Oh my gosh. 20 years ago?
10. Oh, wait.
Oh, 10. Yes, thank
like,
you.
wait.
I can't math. Apparently the math ain't mathed.
Wait. Can you imagine?
I wouldn't even remember what I said in 2012.
No, I would have been like, why are you saying I'll always love you? I never said that. And he's like, yes, you did.
That doesn't sound like me.
Yeah, I knew then that was a lie. Oh my gosh.
Man.
I don't know. I wanted to know what he was saying.
Right.
I wanted to know, but they must have been embarrassing because it's like not written. It just says he was quoting text messages that she sent in 2012. But it gets worse. He then started screaming, you're a hypocrite, you're a liar, you've ruined my life, falls to the ground, gets in the fetal position, and starts wailing.
That's embarrassing for him. If I was her, I would have stepped right over him in my long dress and high heels and just kept on walking on by.
Is this performance art?
What's his problem?
Does anyone know this guy? I would have been so many emotions, but the first thing I think of is turned off. Like, what are you doing? I'm not all that.
I think the first thing that I probably would have thought of, and maybe this is where it goes, but when I got out of the car and would see him, I would have thought the invitation came from him.
Oh,
like he somehow
this is a setup.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that is an interesting theory, but everything I read, it was just a chance and
just so happened.
He happened to be working the event. She happened to get a last-minute invitation,
Man.
and then pow.
He's on the floor in the fetal position. A grown man.
Wailing!
At this point, he's what, 35, 40?
Probably, yeah.
That's gross. I'm sorry.
It's not very masculine, sir.
I mean, I'm all for men having their emotions.
No,
That's great.
definitely.
But I'm sorry, it's not the time or place, honey.
I've seen men cry, and I'm comforting.
Yes,
and stuff,
yeah.
But I've also had my heart broken.
Right.
And I've embarrassed myself. But I'm not going to go drop down on the ground and scream like a child.
Was that to make her feel bad? Like to get her to comfort him?
Maybe, because listen to what happens next.
Okay.
Kind of her therapist's mind is always there.
Yeah, that's good.
I know. I would have just been like, "Eee,
right,
you're disgusting." Or the opposite. I've been like, "That's what happens when I'm done with you."
That's right.
But she immediately goes into therapist mode, and starts talking to him. She goes off from this event and sits and talks to him for 45 minutes.
No.
I've been in this situation with a crazy ex before, where it's like, I've just got to talk him down, get him in a mindset where I can safely get away from this.
Yeah.
And that had to be what she was thinking.
But at the same time, this is exactly what you said at the beginning of the episode, where he will manipulate you to get you into any conversation.
Yes.
Which is exactly what he did.
Man, that was really a gamble, though, because not a lot of women would have went for the fetal position.
No.
Technique. Been like, do you need me to call your mom? Because this is not the vibe.
Oh my gosh.
He's a monster, though. So she calms him. They talk for extended period of time, twice during this event. She is shaken up. This had happened in January, okay?
Okay.
Mid-January. She's shaken up, but she's, puts it behind her. She's like, oh my God, that happened. She's probably thinking to herself, I need to check the employees before I go to any more events. Who are the photographers going to be? Who's working the event?
That's so sad.
I bet you that's what she was thinking, because she would give advice to people that were going through bad breakups or having like difficulties in their
Dealing with
relationship.
these types of
Yeah.
things.
So around February 10th of 2020, this is just a small little piece, but I just thought it was kind of like, oh, what could that have led to?
Okay.
She texts Drew just out of the blue. They hadn't spoken in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it says something to the effect of, I would love to get together and talk. To get together and talk, if I can say it. If you want to, if you would like that. And on the 48 hours, Drew said that he texted back that he would love that. And he said, at the end, he said, I love you.
Aww.
I got a text from her. I would love to get together with you and talk. And I said, yeah, I would love to do that. I love you.
Are you sad you never got that chance?
I never got it. I never got a chance to do it.
On Valentine's Day, so they haven't got together. She just sent that text.
A couple days ago.
Yeah. On Valentine's Day, she goes to a burlesque show with her friends. After the burlesque show, Amie and her friends left the Globe Theater, and they ended up at the Nomad, which is another bar, I guess, in Hollywood that I like to go to.
We frequent often.
And she leaves there at 12:18 a.m. I'm getting more specific because we're about to have something happen here. At around 1 a.m., Amie pulled into her driveway. And she texted her friend that had been with her that night. And she says, send me pics on the green couch. Seems like something we would do. Like, hey, send me a pic with Taylor Swift. And you're like, I got you. Yeah. And that time of that text message was 1:02 a.m. Moments later, police believe that she climbed the stairs to her third floor bedroom and was viciously attacked.
Oh.
Remember, Amie has a roommate. Police theorize that Amie's assailant had been waiting there for hours. They believe that he climbed up through the outside of the building somehow and broke the sliding glass door that was to her bedroom, because she had a balcony off of her bedroom. Because that window or that glass was broke. Amy's roommate was jolted out of sleep by her screams. Initially, he thinks he's just had a dream or something, like, because he was just woke up and then he doesn't hear anything, and then he kind of lays back down. Then he hears like what sounds like bodies slamming on the floor.
Yeah.
So he later testified that he heard the sounds of bodies falling to the floor and more screams that seemed muffled, as though someone had put the hand over her mouth. Unable to find his cell phone,
Of course.
Amy's roommate first just tries yelling to scare them away. Yeah, nothing scares a killer away like, hey, you, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. When he runs, so then he's like, okay, I gotta run to the neighbors. When he runs for help, he gets trapped inside the courtyard. I mean, it's just one freaking thing after another. And he has to scale like a tall metal fence. I can picture it, can't you? Right. It has spikes at the top.
Yeah.
He cuts himself, but he still makes it over to the neighbor's house. Starts beating on the door. Nobody answers.
Of course not.
So he has to go to another neighbor's door. It's now 1:08 a.m. Amy's roommate is frantic. He runs across the street, and again, no one answers. Then he sees someone walking up the street, and they happen to have a phone. So he's like, hey, please call 911. It's now 1:14 a.m. She hasn't been home but what?
10 minutes?
10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's when the police are there by 1:14.
Okay.
So the call must have been 1:08, and then 1:14 they get there. When they get there, Amy's body is lying underneath her bedroom balcony. It's a
her balcony?
Yeah, it's 3 stories. Remember, it's a 20-foot drop. She's still alive at that point, but barely.
Oh.
Police noted that Amie had severe injuries and deep marks on her neck. So it was difficult for them to determine, because they got her to the hospital, but she passed at the hospital. She had so many injuries on her, but it was really hard to tell what came from her attack in the house and what came from that 20 feet fall from the balcony. Her friends were still texting her pictures from the night.
Aww.
Inside her home, investigators discovered evidence of a violent struggle. There was blood on the bedroom floor. She had been wearing like some rosary beads. All the beads were everywhere. And on the floor, they found a syringe.
Okay.
Amie didn't drink. Amie didn't smoke. Amie didn't do drugs. The syringe was full of pure nicotine.
That's odd.
Pure nicotine in that level will kill you.
Well, I can only imagine.
I've tried. I'm just kidding. I do like a little nicotine here and there. But, so probably his plan was to wait, let her fall asleep, and he was just going to inject her with that nicotine. But either she spotted him, or he just, being up there waiting all that time.
Probably the latter of the two.
He just got real amped up and was like, no, I'm going to attack her.
Man.
After Amie died on February 15th, 2020, they're asking her roommate, her friends, every single person said, Gareth Purehouse. She's had restraining orders against this man for 10 years. She would repeatedly say, if anything ever happens to me, it's Gareth.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no question. So he was arrested the following day. He initially was released on bond, but when the DNA results came back from underneath her fingernails, it was his.
Of course.
So I looked and looked and looked. Where's Gareth right now? Where does this stand with the trial? What's going on?
Yeah.
And a bunch of Google searches said he's in prison awaiting trial. So you know me, California offender locator.
Yeah.
I know how to find somebody. Couldn't find him anywhere.
Really?
So then I had to go on a deep dive. And I learned from Katie's Creeping, the county that this happened in. I searched that county jail.
Okay.
Which was like the Los Angeles County Police Department or county jail or whatever it was. Found him. And so he's currently incarcerated there awaiting trial. His next court date is Tuesday, May 30th.
Really?
So I will be following along.
Okay.
And I suspect that he's going to get life. I don't know if they have the death penalty in California. I have no idea. But it's just such a tragedy of this young woman that had so much going for her.
Not only that, but the trial to be so far out. I know that a lot of criminal trials do go far out anyways,
Yeah.
but I can only imagine 2 weeks before the world stopped because of the pandemic.
Yes.
That had to have backlogged everything.
The pandemic, and then, there's always continuances.
Yeah.
And the prosecution's got to get their case. The defense has to get their case together. One of the defense strategies I read is, well, they can't prove that he killed her. Maybe the fall killed her.
She didn't jump.
I was going to say, excuse me, sir. The fall is a direct result,
right,
of him being in her bedroom with a syringe full of nicotine.
Yes.
So it's so high profile. Amie was, which I'm surprised I'd never heard of her.
I'm surprised that I haven't heard of her either.
Because she really is cool.
Yeah.
And she was engaged to Drew Carey, which he's a star.
Yeah, he is.
So, yeah, you'll have to watch the 48 Hours or at least a little snip of him talking about her. Because, sometimes relationships, I'm friends with a couple of my exes, and it seemed like they really maintained a friendship and definitely love for each other, even though it didn't work out.
So sad.
So, I did put where he's at, Los Angeles County Jail.
Okay. We'll definitely bring us back an update next week and tell us what happens in whatever court proceedings.
I'm going to track the court date next week and see what's going on.
Man.
But yeah.
That's so sad.
The vibe is not stalking. Do not be a stalker.
Not stalking.
What vibe do you have for us this week?
The vibe is Playboy.
Oh.
It is. The vibe is semis.
Okay. My brother's a trucker.
He is?
Yeah. He used to drive a semi all the time. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. It's such a fun fact about him.
He worked at Rosenwalker delivering drywall forever, and he did long, short distance trips. And anytime, if we're in the car together, he'll always say, I should drive. I'm a professional driver.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So he's okay.
Semis. Jake would say.
Yeah.
Side-eyeing.
I can get behind that.
Divorce.
I can get behind that. Sometimes it's necessary.
Sometimes it is. And special victims.
Ooh, very Mariska Hargitay over here.
Do you know where I'm going with these vibes based on all of that?
Okay. Semis. Special victims.
Playboy. Side-eyeing.
Side-eyeing.
And divorce.
No clue.
Okay. So a little bit of background before I go into my story or my person that I want to tell you about. A couple of weeks ago, month or two, I don't know, the timelines just all crazy. We just can't stop with these episodes. No. You talked about the original Wednesday Addams, and you just told the story of her and how she was, she went through struggles in her life, and she was a strong woman.
Yeah.
Well, I thought to myself after we did our episode last week, I'm going to do an episode about a strong woman.
Love it.
And I chose Mariska Hargitay.
Oh, I said Mariska Hargitay. Oh, I can't wait to hear about Mariska. Oh.
But here's the thing.
Those were good vibes
you
gave. Now they all click.
Aren't they? So I started to get my story together to tell you about Mariska's life, and I wanted to start at her birth. And when I did that, Amie, I started with her parents, her mom, Jayne Mansfield.
So cool.
And her dad. And I can't not tell their story to be able to tell her story. So I do have quite a bit of information. I'm going to start by telling you about Jayne Mansfield. And then, depending on how long the time goes...
I should have given you that side eye when you were at the Dent Gala in that dress you were wearing. If you know, you know.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you knew, because I don't talk about that in here, but I wanted to see if you would catch that. Thank you. So I'm going to tell you about Miss Jayne Mansfield, and then we'll walk through her family and end at Mariska.
Oh, I'm excited.
Okay. So you, I believe, know who Miss Jayne Mansfield is, but here's a picture of her. She's gorgeous.
Man. She is a bombshell.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe when I started digging into her story. I was like, man,
Was she big in the 50s?
Yes.
The 50s pinup is my favorite. 'cause
Okay.
They were curvy.
Yes.
I bring some curves to the table. You know, it was just more like you get into the 90s and it was like,
Right.
I ate a cracker yesterday. I'm fine. But the 50s, yes. When women were women.
That's right.
Mm.
So Jayne Mansfield was born April 19th, 1933, and she's most widely known as an actress, a singer, a nightclub entertainer, a Playboy playmate, and just overall like a renowned sex symbol for her time.
Yeah.
She was the first major actress to perform a nude scene post silent film era. So she was
This
at
is
the
stuff
height
I
of her
don't
fame.
know about her.
Well, I'm going to start from when she was born and just give you a brief summary of her childhood. Something that I did not know is when she was born into money.
Okay.
So when her mom's parents passed away, they left her about $120,000, which today is equivalent to, do you know how much?
1.5 million.
Yes.
No.
Right around there. Between 1 and 1.5.
I know my money.
No, remember when you asked me that and I was like, $900 billion. And then you roasted me and said I didn't know how to budget.
I I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'll hear these kind of things and I try to just get a feel for, I can't believe I was that close though, honestly.
Yeah. So she was left a lot of money.
Yeah, she was.
So she was kind of set, but didn't stop her. She still had a lot of dreams. During her early childhood, she spent a few years in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, where her father was an attorney before he passed away at the age of 34. She was only 3. So a couple years later, Jayne's mom meets a man, they get remarried, and they relocate to Dallas, Texas, where she would grow up as Vera Jane Pierce.
Okay.
Throughout her childhood, she would often idolize Shirley Temple, and she just really wanted to be a big star just like Shirley Temple. Like she just thought that she was so cool and so inspiring. She was very smart, very talented. When she was little, she would take ballroom dance lessons. She would learn to play the violin, the piano, the viola. She also studied Spanish and German and had an IQ of 160 by the time she was an adult.
Is that genius level?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's got the beauty and the brains.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. At the age of 17, she went to a Christmas party and met her first husband, Paul. He was 20. It was 1949. About a year later, they ended up getting married and having their first child, Jayne Marie Mansfield. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about their next couple of years, and that they talk about both Jaynes. So I'm going to call baby Jayne Jayne Marie.
Okay.
And adult Jayne because it's kind of confusing.
I think adult and baby Jayne are kind of cute.
I did have those names in here for a little while, and I was like, no, I'll call her Jayne Marie.
And Jayne Marie's the baby.
Is the baby.
Okay.
So she is the eldest of adult Jayne's children.
Okay. Big Jayne and little Jayne.
You're right. So she has Jayne Marie, and at this point, she still wants to be a star. She's
still what, 20?
Yeah. Well, no, at this point, she's only 18.
Oh my gosh.
So she's still young.
Jayne Mansfield, teen mom to superstar.
Yes.
I love it.
Paul did not want her to be an actress. He did not want her in Hollywood, and just was really hoping that when Jayne Marie was born that it would kind of discourage her and distract her.
50s husband's like, where's my dinner?
Exactly.
Yep.
Jayne, though, was not about that. She had her heart set on acting and was not going to let Paul stand in her way.
Good for her.
So Jayne and Paul ended up enrolling in Southern Methodist University, which is where the Von Erichs
Really?
were enrolled.
Well,
I know.
shout out to the other
Other
ship
ship.
with Drew Samuels and the gang. Go check them out.
Yes.
The Other Ship podcast.
He guest starred on one of our episodes and told us a story about the Von
Yeah.
Erichs and was telling us all about Southern Methodist University.
Yeah.
So I know when I was prepping right before you got here, I was like, that sounds familiar.
That's
Let me
where the
look it
Von
up.
Erichs were.
Yeah. So
We never knew we knew so much about wrestling.
right? I never in a million years think I'd be able to tell you that.
We're getting
fact.
educated.
So I don't know what the Von Erichs were there for, but the Mansfields were there to study acting.
Okay.
Not long after they were enrolled, Paul was drafted into the Korean War. So they left little Jayne Marie with her grandparents. Paul was out doing his thing, and Jayne decided to move to Los Angeles so she could attend a summer at UCLA.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, at this point, I couldn't really find, did she already complete her degree? Is she just doing this summer school and then going to go back?
I mean, I could see myself in this situation being like, hubby's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma will tend the baby. I'm going to go chase this dream
Chase
for a
my
minute.
dream.
Mhm.
Yep. Well, while she was gone to Los Angeles, she decided, I'm going to enroll in Miss California. I'm going to compete in this beauty pageant.
I love her self-esteem.
Yeah, I know. So as she was enrolled and like participating in this pageant or contest, she was doing these summer classes, Paul comes back. And he gets
He's like, woman, get home.
Jayne Marie, and he moves to Los Angeles with
Oh.
them. He finds out that she's doing this Miss California contest and forces her to withdraw. Typical
1950s
50s.
husband.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. But a little side note that I put in here that I just kind of thought was a fun fact. So when Paul and Jayne Marie met with Jayne at her apartment in Los Angeles, they all moved in there. So it was the three of them. It was just a small apartment, but she had pets. She had a Great Dane. She had 3 cats, 2 chihuahuas, a pink poodle, and a rabbit.
I can smell that apartment.
Literally. What?
Oh, the smell of a Great Dane. In a 4x4 apartment.
In a toddler.
And a
what?
grumpy husband that doesn't want me to chase my dream.
Yeah. So has nothing really to do with the story, but apparently she loves animals.
That's sweet. But I'm surprised that she was in a small apartment since she does come from such money.
Yeah, I kind of was too. Actually, I lied just now. I didn't.
You weren't surprised? You didn't give a shit.
No, I didn't even think about that. I was like to keep it funny.
I'm engaged in your story. Why are they in this shoebox with a damn chihuahua and a Great Dane and a rabbit?
And a pink poodle.
It was pink?
It was pink.
Aww.
Jayne loved pink.
Okay.
Loved pink. So they're not there long, and they hit the road again, and they move to Austin, Texas. So back to Texas they go. This time, Jayne enrolls in the University of Texas, and she studies dramatics.
Okay.
I don't know what dramatics is. I assume it's just like theater or drama.
I'll tell you what, I've studied dramatics my whole life.
I would not be surprised by that statement.
It's just drama all day long.
You should host a class.
I know. No, I can't give away these secrets for. Well, I guess if it's a class, they'd have to pay. I just walk in. I can't believe how many of you are here.
Nothing but drama the whole time.
Start fights between the classmates.
Oh my god.
Okay, sorry.
So while she is studying at the University of Texas, she is just busy. Okay, so she's also a mom. She's studying. She's working as a nude art model. She sold books door to door. She worked as a receptionist at a dance studio.
You already know I'm in love.
I know.
Love her.
I know.
Hard worker.
Yeah, nothing's going to stop her. She also did participate in several small beauty pageants and did win
I
a few of
bet.
them.
She's Jayne Mansfield.
Well, I know. And participated in some small local theater productions.
Jayne Mansfield just oozes sex appeal. You know what I mean? Like some women are beautiful, some are cute, some are funny.
Yeah.
I'm the funny one. But she's just sexy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So in 1953, she moves back to Dallas. So she's just on the move.
Yeah, she is.
And she studies acting under a person's name that I'm going to pronounce. I don't know who it is or if I will say it right. Baruch Lumet.
Oh, Baruch Lumet.
He was apparently a big deal, and his dad was apparently a big deal.
Okay.
But he was a popular Yiddish stage actor.
Okay.
And throughout this time that she's studying underneath him, she meets a friend, and the two of them are just spending a lot of time with Baruch. And they get so close that Baruch says that he considered them their kid, like his kids.
Oh, okay.
I know your face was like, where's this going?
Well, I know I'll let you get there.
Okay. He even helped her to get her first screen tests at Paramount and at Warner Brothers in 1954, so the following year.
Nice.
Unfortunately, she did fail both of those auditions, but that didn't stop her. She kept going, and she finally landed her first acting gig in a TV show called the Lux Video Theater.
Okay.
It was a series on CBS, and in the episode, an angel went AWOL. In October 1954, she sat at a piano and delivered a few lines for $300. She went on and would appear in a ton of box office hits throughout the 50s and 60s. Her first really big deal was Female Jungle. I don't know. I don't know what any of these things are.
I don't watch old movies. I should. I bet they're great.
Yeah. I do sometimes get into the black and white TV shows on TikTok. I'll get one or two in my feed, and I think they are kind of fun.
Yeah.
It just shows a different time period. So at one point, she ended up negotiating a 7-year contract with the Warner Brothers because they were so intrigued by her publicity antics. And if you know the side-eyeing reference, I'll put a picture of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. She would just walk into a room and decide that she was going to do whatever she had to get people's attention.
She owned the room.
She gives me Taylor Swift vibes almost.
Yeah. Just that stage presence and how to just be confident.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to channel my inner Jayne Mansfield this whole month of June for my birthday.
Okay, yes. Yeah. Oh, me too.
I show up to work.
Side eye.
How many employees do you think would be like, Amie, put the twins away?
Probably all of them.
Yeah. They haven't seen the light of day in 40 years.
I know. I was almost surprised you showed up in shorts.
I know. I'm in casual wear today.
Love it. So once she signed that contract with Warner Brothers, she moved back to Los Angeles with her family. And while she was there, of course, she was still working more odd jobs. She was selling popcorn at the Stanley Warner Theater. She was teaching dance, selling candy, modeling part-time, and working as a photographer.
Man, all as a wife and mother.
That's
cool.
She had her sights set on, she was going to do whatever she had to on the side to make it to Hollywood.
And not relying on her family's money.
Right.
Huh. Cool.
So in 1955, so this was 5 years after they got married, Jayne filed for separation from Paul. I'm so sorry, I lost my spot. Oh, and at the same time, just forget that I just told you that. So in 1955, Jayne was the Playboy Playmate of the Month and appeared several times in the magazine.
I want those up here.
Okay, I'll see what I can find that's PG-13.
You can put that little ribbon across.
Yes, there we go. Okay.
I bet if you own that Playboy, I bet that's worth a fortune.
Oh, it's got to. The articles that I were reading said that this was right around the same time that Marilyn Monroe was also out and big. Yeah. And her being in their magazine really, really increased the value and the circulation, boosting not only her, but them as well.
Yeah.
So she created a large part of their success.
That's really cool.
Shortly after that, though, they filed for separation. Spoiler alert.
What? Why? What happened? Was it the Playboy?
Yeah, so later that following year, Paul actually took her to court and was trying to get full custody of Jayne Marie, saying that she was unfit for appearing nude in the Playboy magazine. Not only that, but it didn't help that same year, Playboy reprinted her pictorial photos and was labeling them the Playboy portfolio of sex stars early in their careers.
Oh, geez.
So that was being circulated, and he was using that in 1955, 56, to say she is not.
I can't have a nudity around my child.
Right. So they ended up separating, and she did get Jayne Marie. Like, they worked something out. It wasn't like he just got full custody of her. And then that following year, in 1956, Jayne noticed a man named Mickey Hargitay.
He was big.
He was. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, and I'm going to go back to Jayne. Okay. So Mickey was born in Budapest, Hungary.
Okay, so I was wondering if he was Yiddish too, and that's how. So that's how
okay.
I couldn't remember where he was from.
Okay, Budapest. He was born in 1926, and he grew up in a very athletic family. And while he was growing up, him and his brothers were a part of a very well-known acrobatic act in their country, and they would perform all over the country.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they would even go to the largest opera house in Budapest and like put on these crazy shows.
You mean like swinging in the air and
yeah.
Okay, cool.
He would also compete in speed skating. He was a professional football player and an underground fighter in World War II.
Like Fight Club.
I guess.
We all know the first rule of Fight Club, so we'll just move on.
Okay, let's keep it going. So in 1947, Mickey, at the age of 21, immigrated to the USA to avoid being drafted in the war by the Soviet Union. He moved to Cleveland,
Ohio,
worked as a plumber and a carpenter.
Oh, wow.
And would continue to perform acrobatics with his first wife, Mary.
Okay.
They had one daughter together. Her name was Tina. At that point, he was then inspired to begin bodybuilding. And I read I didn't read. When I say that, I saw it on TikTok. I was researching on TikTok some interviews with Mariska, and she was kind of telling a little bit of the story of her father and how he got into bodybuilding. And at this point, he was 26, and he said, I want to be a bodybuilder. And everybody was telling him, I'm sorry, you're too old. And she said, you know what his response was? You're too old. Doesn't that sound like a very 2023 response?
Yes. Like, you're dumb. You're dumb.
Yeah. Like,
you're too old.
And so he went on to be a bodybuilder, and he won Mr. America, Mr. Universe, and Mr. World.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I can picture him in my head at those contests.
Really?
Veins everywhere, muscles everywhere.
Oh, not him actually, just a bodybuilder?
No, him in his little Speedo.
Okay.
When I close my eyes and picture a bodybuilder,
You're like,
it's him.
Mickey Hargitay.
Yes.
So the following year, after he won Mr. Worldwide,
that make me think of Step Brothers?
It was supposed to make you think of Pitbull.
It's the best that we both laughed and both had different visions in our head. But you know how the Step Brothers, which I don't know if you're allowed to watch Step Brothers because your husband doesn't like
Will Ferrell.
but they start Worldwide Entertainment or something. It's something like
with
that.
a boat club
Yes,
or something.
Boats and Hoes.
Yes. I haven't seen it in so long. No, I said Mr. Worldwide because Pitbull is literally known as Mr. Worldwide.
Okay, that was great.
So a year after he won those awards, whatever you want to call them, he was performing in the Mae West show. And that was like a burlesque show. But he would be there as a bodybuilder and just like getting all the ladies to woo at him.
Oh, that's true.
Jayne Mansfield was at one of the shows he was at. And when she noticed him,
she was wooed.
She was wooed. So a waiter came over to like take her order. And she said, I'll have a steak for my dog and that tall man on the left.
That's a boss ass bitch.
It really is. That is giving Amie vibes.
That's giving I'm here to get what I want.
Yep.
And I'm going to say what it is.
That's
I'm so excited.
I know. You see why I couldn't just not tell her
that's
story?
Amazing. So did he bring Mickey on a plate?
I
And
mean,
she was just like,
I'll leave that to your imagination. But they did start dating shortly after.
I bet they did. If somebody tried to order me that looked like Jayne Mansfield, I'd be like, get a to-go box ready.
Let's go. The following year, Mickey proposed to Jayne with a 10-carat diamond ring, and the couple married January 1958.
Wow.
They have a lavish pink-themed wedding, down to her wedding dress. The champagne was pink. Everything was pink.
Oh,
I would
Jayne
love to see a
loved pink.
picture of their wedding. I wonder
Okay.
if there is one.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure I can find one. When they had gotten together, Mickey built Jayne a home.
Because he was a carpenter and
It's massive. And I've seen pictures. The whole thing is pink. It's got a heart-shaped swimming pool. Like it's amazing.
I picture her laying on the lounge chair, just watching her man. His muscles in the sun, putting baby oil on him.
I'm sorry, were you reincarnated from Jayne Mansfield?
Yes, maybe I was. I remember like it was yesterday, Mickey putting that house together.
It's all making sense. So soon after they got married, they would start performing in acting gigs opposite of each other. This was mostly at Jayne's request. She really didn't care what the production was that she was starring in. She wanted Mickey to be there to be her love interest.
Man probably couldn't act worth a darn.
Probably not.
He's like, me love you.
Fun fact that I will share, I was trying to just decide where I wanted to throw it in. Mickey actually was in an episode of Law & Order SVU. I know, just like a very brief, quick. I know.
I consider myself a Mariska and SVU expert, and I did not know
I didn't
that.
either. And I do too. I've seen like almost every
All of
single
them
episode.
twice.
Yeah.
At least.
Right. So yeah, I thought that was kind of fun. I'll have to get you the name of the episode. So in 1963, things started to get a little rocky and they filed for divorce. At this point, they have 2 boys together. Their names are Mickey and Zoltan.
Oh, I love them. That's so cute.
It is. So they end up filing for a divorce in Mexico, come back to the U.S., and a judge says, I'm sorry, but your divorce is not valid. Like, you're still considered married here in the U.S.
In Mexico, you're single as a bird.
Right. So they ended up getting back together.
Aww.
Very briefly,
Okay.
just for a couple of months. And then Jayne discovered she was pregnant with Mariska.
Nice.
They wanted to really keep their separation private because of her being pregnant. They didn't want to say that they were getting a divorce or anything until after she had given birth.
Yeah.
So that was really mostly to prevent just endangering her career, because at this time she is a star. She's been in Playboy, she's doing all these films, she's doing everything. So after Mariska was born, Jayne did sue for divorce, and it was declared legal, and she won. But that wasn't her last husband.
So Mariska's parents were never really together when she was growing up.
No, just maybe about a month.
Dang.
Yeah. A year later, Jayne cannot stop herself. She gets involved with an Italian director, Matt Kimber. They would go on to get married and divorced in less than 2 years.
She just loves love.
She does, yeah. So at this point, she has 4 children.
Okay.
Kimber, during their marriage, ended up taking over her career as like her manager. So he was helping her get into like all these different acts or productions. But unfortunately, at this time, she would fall into some alcoholism, and they were constantly getting into fights, and she was just doing like really cheap burlesque shows instead of like big acts. And then they ended up having a child together, Tony. So now she has 5 children.
Tony, what was that husband's last name? Kimber?
Kimber.
Tony Kimber.
Yep. Something that I did put in here as well is it is alleged that Mansfield or Jayne had several relationships or was intimately involved with people such as John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, her attorney, Sam Brody, just all of these high profile people. So,
well, you'll get no slut shaming here, girl. Do your thing. It's totally fine.
I know. I'm just telling you all these connections she has.
I bet she did have a lot of boyfriends.
Yeah.
Look at her.
I know. So once she separated from Matt, she began living with her married attorney, Sam Brody.
I will complain about that.
Okay.
One. Where was his wife living? With them too?
Yep.
Stop it.
They were all 3 living there.
You're lying.
I swear.
I didn't know Jayne Mansfield was in a throuple.
I don't know that the wife knew that, but
oh my God. Not everybody's in the loop here, but I'll meet you in the kitchen. What the hell?
Yeah. So
was there hanky panky?
I don't think. Well,
you said living with.
He was in that list of alleged people that she was intimate with. So when she was living there, Jayne Marie was 16, and she was sometimes staying with them too. And Jayne and Matt would drink heavily and then get into really big fights, and he would mistreat Jayne Marie.
Oh no.
It didn't say how. I assume just like yelling and yeah. So at 16, Jayne Marie actually filed a police report alleging his abuse and implicated her mother for encouraging the abuse. And she actually ended up moving out and to live with Paul's uncle, who was afforded her custody.
Oh, wow.
By this time, my next note says, by this time, Sam's wife filed for divorce.
She's like, this is a hot mess.
You're like, okay.
I'm out of here. There's a lot of drama. Not everybody's into it, but I am.
I know you are. I love it.
I'd stay in that house.
Just to be a fly on the wall at least. So in 1967, Jayne, Sam, 3 of Jayne's children, Mickey, Zoltan, and Mariska, were in Mississippi doing a few appearances.
Where was baby Tony?
With his dad. Yeah. They left Mississippi and were headed to New Orleans at around 2:30 in the morning. The car crashed into the back of a semi that had slowed down. The 3 adults, there was apparently another adult in the car, including Jayne, were killed instantly. And I saw a couple of pictures, and it was like the top of the car was just gone. Luckily, the 3 children in the back were pretty much untouched. I don't know about the boys, but I know Mariska. I watched an interview with her saying that she does have a scar and she considers herself to be channeling Harry Potter with it. But because of her death, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, say that 5 times fast, has now required all semis to have a strong bar of steel at the back on the bottom, and those are known as Mansfield bars.
Oh, wow. I can picture those in my
Yeah.
head. I didn't know that's what they were called.
All because of
Who was
Jayne.
driving? Was Jayne driving?
No, I think it was Sam
Okay.
that was driving. So let me see. Mariska.
All right, let's hear.
So in 1964, Mariska Hargitay was born. This is the real story I wanted to tell you, but I just couldn't stop myself.
I mean, that backstory is unbelievable.
I feel like it's important.
I
I didn't realize how many siblings she had.
I didn't either.
So Mariska was born in 1964 in Santa Monica, California. She was also in the accident, like I had mentioned. But after Jayne's death, she was raised with her 2 older brothers by her father and his 3rd wife, Ellen.
Okay.
So I think by that time, Tina and Jayne Marie were already pretty much grown, which Jayne Marie had a different father.
Right.
So it was really just the 3 of them in the house. And I read a lot about how once Mariska got a lot older, she really disliked being compared to her mom. Like,
I bet.
when everybody saw her, you look just like your mom, or
But I don't think she does.
I don't think she does a whole lot either. I think she looks more like her dad. But there's a quote here that says, she said, "My dad was Mr. Universe, and I always thought it would be really fun for me to be Miss Universe." And that she's, because of the early loss of her mother, it left a hole in her life that won't ever be filled. She will always be the girl who lost her mom. So that's why she just wants to be.
That's so sad.
Compared to more of her father.
Yeah. Yeah.
She knows what she's missing.
I'm so glad her dad, and I think you'll probably say, but pretty sure her stepmom was a great lady.
Yes.
And like, that's her mom,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's all she really knew, which I did also see a couple of other articles that said she does have some memories of her mom, memories of them like eating breakfast together, or
at 3, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially with the trauma that she suffered, to have memories.
Mariska is also very smart, like her mother was. As a student, she was active in cheerleading, student governments, athletics, and theater. She speaks 5 languages: English, French, Hungarian, Spanish, and Italian. Wow. After she graduated, she enrolled in the theater at UCLA. At the same time, she also enrolled in Miss California like her mom.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
I know. So she ended up being crowned Miss Beverly Hills and got to be the 4th runner-up for Miss California.
That's cool.
By the time she was a freshman in college, she had already obtained several acting roles and had an agent, and she ended up leaving before she had obtained her degree. Something that I did put a note in here is I watched a video that I'm going to try to put in here, but it was kind of sad because Mariska said, "I lost my grandfather when he was 34 years old. I lost my mother when she was 34 years old. So when I turned 34, I was really scared."
So my mother died when she was 34, and my grandfather died when he was 34. And so on my 34th birthday, I always was just frightened of it, of what does it mean, like I was next in line. And I had this beautiful trip planned. I got invited with a bunch of my artist friends to caravan on motorcycles to Las Vegas for Cirque du Soleil. And they were a little like, you know, loosey-goosey, crazy, hippie types. And I said, I will go if I can drive my car. So we're about 2.5 hours in, and everyone's like, Mariska, you know, don't play it so safe. And I said, you know what? I don't want to live my life based in fear. So I got on, and we're driving along, and within maybe 30 seconds, one of the cars that was with us was looking at her cell phone and hit my motorcycle, and everything stopped, and I went flying through the air. And I thought, wow, I can't believe this. You're going to die like they did. And then I landed on the ground and realized that I was alive and that I didn't carry the karma of the past, and my life began.
Katie, I relate to that. I'm going to cry.
I'm sorry.
Because my mom died when she was 36. And as 36 was approaching, I just thought it's going to be so weird to live past that. Like I've never seen, like my mom never made it past that.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of why I was kind of going fast and loose and wild, because I was like, I only got till 36.
Only 2 more years.
Right. So I can relate to that so much.
Yeah. She said that once she hit 34, though, she was like, this is it. Like, this is all, like, I've lived my life now. And then she made it to 35.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, whoa.
And it's weird.
It's not the end.
Yeah,
like,
I relate to that.
Yeah.
And now that I'm 36, times 2, I feel like.
Oh, stop. Okay, so a little bit about Mariska's career. In 1984, super fun. Do you know who Ronnie Millsap is?
Is he a country singer?
Yes.
Okay.
He has a song called She Loves My Car.
Uh-huh.
She was in the music video.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna pretend like I'm watching it because I know you're gonna put
I absolutely am. So that was really fun. She went on to do several small television roles. She was on Ellen. She was on a Nightmare on Elm Street series. She was on Baywatch for a little while. She was almost considered for the role of Elaine in Seinfeld.
Really?
I think she ended up guest starring on like the 4th season of Seinfeld, but she was like one of the top to be chosen.
Oh, wow.
She did also have a reoccurring role in the 4th season of ER as an inept desk clerk, which I cannot even imagine her playing a role that's titled inept.
No. She must be a good actress.
I know. She did experience still a lot of difficulties because she was still being compared to her mom. But in 1999, both her and Christopher Maloney, I believe is how you say his name, were one of 4 finalists for each of their current characters in SVU. They were paired up. They just so happened that they were paired together. Each pair did their like final round, and after everybody left, Dick Wolf blurted out, "Oh well, there's no doubt who we should choose, Hargitay and Maloney."
Their chemistry.
That's exactly what he said. They were his first choice.
That gives me
top
goosebumps.
tier. In the show, she's continued to work her way up the ladder. If you haven't seen it, she started as a
beat cop.
Yeah.
with Stabler.
Yes, thank you. And now she's worked her way all the way up to captain.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to kind of watch that.
What I love about SVU, so many things.
So many.
But what I really love about it is I'll go back and rewatch,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see like, oh, there's so and so. There's so and
Yes.
so. Like so many people that are huge now.
Yeah, the show is currently on its 25th or 24th season, having been renewed for 25th.
Oh my gosh.
She's gone on to win several awards, including in 2013, she earned the 2,511th star on Hollywood Walk of Fame, right next to her mom's.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
In 2015, she won a VMA Video of the Year award for being in Taylor Swift's Bad Blood.
Yes. Oh.
Something really cool that I thought when you were telling your story about Amie, it really felt like not Olivia Benson to me, but Mariska Hargitay. Because I have a lot of notes on how she's done like so much in terms of philanthropy.
Yeah.
In the first few years of airing SVU, men and women all over would feel so connected to her character that they would write her letters disclosing
their assaults.
their abuse, everything. And she was just like so overwhelmed and so touched when she would get those letters. She actually, in real life, became a certified rape counselor. So she would, talk with women and men and just help them feel like they can get back to their daily lives.
I love that.
I know.
It probably helps her character too.
Yeah, like she's learned stuff that she could really apply.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So because of that, in 2004, during the height of season 5 of SVU, Mariska was inspired to create the Joyful Heart Foundation. And what her foundation does, it is to bring awareness and to help support victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, and child abuse. She's also trying to help eradicate the backlog of rape kits. And to really just help society change the way that we respond to people going through these things.
I mean, I do think it is changing, and that probably plays a big part of it.
Yeah.
There's still obviously people feel shame. You can't stop that,
right.
But it is a different culture than it used to be.
It 100%.
So wow, that's awesome.
A couple more small notes that I have about Mariska. As of November 2010, her foundation sent over 5,000 women and children on therapeutic programs to New York, Los Angeles, and Hawaii. As of April of 2011, they had raised $20 million and helped 5,000 survivors. In 2009, so back a couple of years, I guess I had this in the wrong order, she personally assisted in building healing and wellness kits for women who suffered domestic violence attacks and that were currently in Los Angeles domestic violence shelters, and passed them out to 600 women.
Oh.
There's a documentary that she's helped produce I'm going to watch. It's called I Am Evidence, to also bring awareness of the backlog. It is on Hulu.
Okay.
And she's an honorary board member for the director of the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation because her father passed away of multiple myeloma.
Oh.
I know I'm going way over. I'm going to tell you about her family, her children really quick.
Please. Mariska has children?
Yes, she does. You didn't know that?
No.
So during season 3 of Law & Order SVU, Mariska met her husband, Peter Herman, who plays defense attorney Peter Langen.
Okay.
Fun fact, he wrote a children's book. I don't know why I put that in here, but I did.
I love a good fun fact.
Their first date, church.
Oh.
He invited her to go to church and she was like, no, I love the invitation. I would any other time, but I'm moving this weekend. I don't have time. And he said, come on, it's only an hour. And so she said she went and they were standing there in church together. And she said she just started sobbing. Oh. And Peter thought she was crying because she was just really moved by the service And she said, no, I'm crying because like I realize I'm gonna marry you. I'm like,
On the first day.
on the first date. I know.
I'm going to try that.
You're gonna go to church and just like sob.
Anybody that comforts me.
You're gonna have a lot of
The
husbands.
pastor's going to be like, ma'am, I'm married.
So they did go on to have 3 children. So in 2006, the couple had a son, August. I think it's pronounced Miklos, which was what her dad's name was. He just went by Mickey. That's what her brother's name is, who goes by Mickey. In April 2008, they adopted a daughter, Amaya, and they were able to be at her birth. And in 2011, they adopted a son, Andrew.
Aww.
So that is the very long story.
Worth it. Worth every minute.
Mansfield Hargitay line.
Man, that was great, Katie.
Thank you.
I know there's a lot of other SVU Mariska
Oh,
fans out there.
yes.
It's amazing.
So the vibes are
Super fanning again. Because I'm a super
fanning, strong women, like
Mhm.
empowering women.
Hardworking women.
Yes.
Supporting good causes.
Yeah.
The vibe is advocacy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. That was so good. Well, I know we're crunched on time, but I did also want to throw out that the summer's coming up.
Yes.
My personal favorite teacher, Star Pool, is on summer break and will be on the show in July.
Okay. Yes.
She's going to bring us a story. So, and maybe Emily too, just to fangirl out with us. So we'll see what other surprises we have coming this summer.
I'm excited. I think we're going to keep them coming. So,
well, that's the vibe, babe.
that's the vibe. Okay, I'm here for that.
And we also, Katie won't let me say vibers anymore.
Oh, yes.
She gets uncomfortable.
It's not the vibe. It's not the vibe. You guys are not vibers.
So we want you guys to become a member of the Vibe Tribe.
Yes.
Hashtag the Vibe Tribe.
Hashtag the Vibe Tribe.
All right, well, we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks.